Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video we are looking at MP materials. It is time for another update, and today we will have to discuss a bit the structure we are tracking here on the larger time frame, because since we are tracking a diagonal pattern to be developing within this area, we cannot really look for this to be a 1-2 setup. It could work out where this would be a wave 1 itself, but other than that it really would have to be a wave C, in which case I believe it is probably for the best to be tracking something like an ABC structure overall within this larger interpretation. Now, in this wave C, either the white or the yellow scenario could work out perfectly fine, it doesn't matter too much. But the main point is that if we are to track this as the all-time low, which it is, and the bottom for the uptrend that we are tracking, and not have a reset within this correction, we need to be tracking it as an ABC structure with most certainty. In most cases, I don't really see a scenario where we can track this as a 1-2, and then we have here the third wave up. We may have another 1-2, but in the end, in that case, we might as well consider this being the low that we should track the overall uptrend from. Now, with that said, as I was mentioning, in this area we are still tracking the same interpretations as in the previous video. Nothing has really changed, and the only real scenario that could allow this to still be a 1-2 setup would be where this could be a third wave itself, and for that to happen, well, we would have to build a series of 1-2 setups in this area, which is technically allowed, nothing really stopping us from doing this, but it is not necessarily too much of a realistic interpretation. It could work out, but it is not a high probability, due to the fact that if we really get such a large series of 1-2 setups, especially within such extensions, it is rather likely than not that in the end, even if we track it, it will not end up working out. We needed further extensions to allow this to be directly the wave 3, which didn't happen, and it played out in the end in a diagonal pattern, which is not allowed for an impulse. It is basically a diagonal, not an impulse in this case, so we cannot track a 5-wave move to the upside, with this being the actual wave 3. Now, for the scenarios that we are actually tracking, well, in white we are tracking probably my slightly preferred interpretation, where we have a wave 1 up, a wave 2 down, here a third wave up, and we are now looking for the fourth wave correction to the downside, and we only really need another leg up, a fifth wave, to complete this larger structure, where afterwards we will have to be checking out what could really be tracked, because again, we could have a possible A, B, C pattern complete, in which case we may need to be prepared for even new all-time lows. So far so good, we aren't there yet. We don't have the 5-wave move to the upside that would suggest that this count is full. And then we also have the yellow interpretation, in which we actually have quite a few more extensions available to us within this pattern. It is still a diagonal pattern because we are tracking an ABC structure in the wave 1, and then we have here the wave 2, and then in the third wave to the upside we have so far completed only the wave A, and we are looking for the wave B correction. Now, the positive thing about these scenarios that we are tracking is that in both of them we have quite similar areas of support, which are heavily overlapping. So far so good, we have gotten into both of them. We have touched even the yellow area of support, which is slightly lower and allows for a deeper retracement, but we haven't necessarily completed the correction yet, because in the previous video in this area we have been tracking a possible 5-wave move to the downside, where we might have even had it complete at that point, but right now, or even then, we have been tracking a possible extension within the wave 5 in an ABC pattern, which seems to have played out in actually a quite large wave C. But at this point it is rather likely than not that we do have a 5-wave move down, in which case we need to be prepared for a larger wave A to be the case, and we need to be watching out for the wave B correction and the wave C to extend this larger correction either in the wave 4 in white or the wave B in yellow to the downside. Now, in this pattern we have an updated area of resistance for the orange interpretation, for the orange scenario, where we are looking at the levels between the $65.4 all the way up to the $86.5 level, where as long as we hold here below the 78.6% retracement, there is still a high threat, a very high risk that this pattern will extend further down with another 5-wave move to the downside. Now, within the wave B correction, we actually have a very large and wide area of patterns that actually could form, and one of them that could be even complete at this point would be something like a WXY, in which case we may need to be prepared for a top here within the wave B and the wave C to have already started the downside, in which case we may look already for an ideal target within the wave C, which is the 100% extension of the wave A, the $33.3 level in this case. Now keep in mind, this is an ideal target, we don't need to get there and we certainly don't need to stop there, but it is still within both areas of support, so we wouldn't necessarily invalidate the white scenario even if we got to the ideal target here within the wave C. And then if we manage to extend even higher within this wave B, of course we would need to also adjust the target that we would be tracking, but in general the end goal is to see the 5-wave pattern to the downside within the wave C to have the complete structure and the full count for another indication that this larger correction would be done. Now to the upside, we can also track a possible extension higher where we could easily consider this something like an ABC movement to the upside, which honestly, let's track it in green. And in this scenario, we could look for an area of support as well for this correction in the wave B, in which case we have already pushed to the last level of support. And again, the wave B could take many forms, and once again, for this pattern to the downside, we could consider a completion if we are to track this as a WXY pattern within the wave B in green. And we have here the area of support that extends down to the 78.6% retracement to still track with higher likelihood this wave C to play out to the upside, where if we actually break below, and I wouldn't be too surprised by that necessarily, I would prefer that this wave B in orange would have already topped, and I would prefer to already see the larger extension within the wave C. And for now, there really isn't much else to be added. These are the levels, this is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe and let me know what else you want me to cover, and I'll do my best to do that in the days and weeks ahead. And until then, I hope you have a nice day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.